after years of running and racing ultramarathon, it's been 5,800 miler over the past 4.5 years. It's finally catching up to me. Significant injury that is slowing me down, that has been dragging me for the past few months. And today I want to talk about it. I want to open up about my injury, what I've been doing in terms of recovery, PT, but also what I'm doing to stay mentally strong. And hopefully by sharing my own experience, even though this is a very personal journey, it can help some other people that are struggling right now. It's tough to deal with running injuries, and unfortunately, truth is running injuries are part of the game. Any experienced runners know that, and you have to make the right decision so that you can come back stronger. Unfortunately, this time I was pretty dumb. I made some stupid mistake, and now I'm paying the price. Hey, Simon here. Welcome to my channel. I'm an ultra runner, and on this channel you can find a lot of tips video to help you have your own adventure out there. I've mentioned it quite a few times. One of the goals of my channel is to be transparent, is to show you how it is. And well, today is not your typical video. Today is not adventure in the mountain or how can you create your training plan. Today, I'm opening up about some stupid mistakes that I've done that have led to injuries and that are slowing me down. Hopefully, me sharing this personal journey will help some people that are struggling with injuries, because the reality is that dealing with injuries and preventing them in the first place, or making sure that you don't aggravate them, is very important if you want to have a sustainable career in running, just having fun out there. Truth is, our bodies have limitation. It's not just in your head, and you have to make the right decision. And so today what I want to do is, I'll talk about the injury, what I've been doing in terms of physiotherapy, what I've kind of been my journey. So just updating you on that, but also provide some tips that could be helpful if you are yourself dealing with some injuries. So yeah, I'm injured. It's been dragging for a few months. I've been going through a lot of PT, and of course it's not the first time I have to deal with injury, but it's definitely the first time that I'm such an idiot about it. And I hear some people say, Simon, you're running too much. Simon, you're racing too much. Maybe, we can discuss about it, but truth is I made some stupid decision that we'll talk about, and clearly I should have known better. When you run so much, you get to know your body pretty well. You know exactly what you can and cannot do. But I simply ignored the signal. I knew something was wrong, and I decided to just go for it anyway. And obviously that was a major mistake. It's not the first time that I deal with injury, but I've always been much smarter about that. That's definitely an angle that I encourage on my channel, is to make the right decision, to understand your limit, to understand the importance of rest. Things that I've had in the past, I broke my ribs several times. I broke my toe. I had IT band issue. I had Achilles issues. If you would go through my Strava, you would see that sometimes I dip in terms of mileage, and that's usually when I have some ailment, and I deal with it at the stage of ailment so it doesn't get worse. That's not what I did this time, and that's why I felt it would be interesting to talk about it. The injury really started actually at Leona Divide. It's pretty long ago. It was in April. I started having some pain in front of one of my ankle. Didn't think too much of it, changed my shoes, and then it went back to being normal within the race. So I was content with that, some ailment, fine. But when I raced Cocodona, and obviously that was a period of time that I was racing a lot, and through Cocodona, one of the main complaints that I had was pain in front of my left ankle. I had other issues. When you run 250 miles, you have pain everywhere, and it's difficult to say, this is just normal pain and this is an injury, but it did not feel right. And after the race,
I definitely have a blister here. It was pretty painful. You can see the blood blister now. But the most problematic issue, probably not visible, but this is very inflamed and swollen here, this one.
This was within maybe an hour of finishing the race. So I already had signs of, this is not the most painful, but this is what I feel is potentially problematic. And then within the days after the race, that's where you can actually see that, well, it's not getting better. In fact, it felt it was getting worse. Walking was painful. And I just made sure to have a lot of rest. I had a race coming up, Cruel Jewel, and I decided, okay, I'm going to test myself. If I can run, I believe it was 10 miles and not have any pain, I'm going to give a shot at Cruel Jewel. That's exactly what I did. I went for a run. It was fine. Flew in Georgia, did Cruel Jewel, and within 5 miles or 10 miles, I could feel something was not right. And it's hard to say, okay, like what's the worst case scenario? I can just walk the race. And that's exactly what I did. I decided to walk the race. The decision was either to pull out of the race or walk the race. And what's the worst that could happen? Just a little bit of inflammation. I knew it was wrong, and that's really where I was stupid, when I made the wrong decision. I mean, I feel it was almost like ego racing. I wanted to finish the race because I started it. I don't have any DNF, so like, come on, like, Simon, don't DNF. You can still walk. You have time to rest afterwards. The next race that I had was Tahoe 200, which was, I think, a month or a month and a half afterwards. So plenty of time to rest, no worries. But it was obviously a mistake. This is stupid. I know better. I should have known. This is not normal. I should have pulled the plug, but I did not. And immediately after the race, of course, it was very inflamed. It was very painful, and walking was very, very difficult for the weeks following that. Now, having had prior injuries like chin splint and stress fracture, I was able to tell that this was most likely not the case. This was most likely inflammation. Still had an x-ray to exclude that. That made me feel more confident I would be able to overcome it. In fact, that's how I felt before doing Cruel Jewel. I felt that this is just a little bit of tendonitis. I will just ice it. It's gonna be all right. And that's what it is. It's an anterior tibialis inflammation, tendonitis. So of course I consult medical professional, several PTs, and we've been working through PTs ever since. I see a PT once a week, and I do exercise twice a day, and there's been improvement. At first I couldn't walk at all in the first 3 weeks. I couldn't walk, but then eventually I was able to run. And the funny thing is that running is much easier for me than walking. And I think that's what kind of lured me when I did Cruel Jewel. My test was running. I ran and I was fine, but actually walking was a bigger issue. Then I test myself progressively, doing up to 20-mile on trail with a lot of elevation before Tahoe 200. I decided, okay, I'm good enough. I'm gonna do Tahoe 200. And actually, as opposed to Cruel Jewel, I think that Tahoe was not necessarily a mistake. Running was not an issue, and walking was not great, but not painful. It just didn't feel right. So since Tahoe 200, it's been a few weeks now, progress has been stagnant. My ankle is quite stiff. It's not painful, but walking is just a little bit awkward. So I'm still working through a lot of PT. It's very difficult. It's very frustrating. Let's talk about my mindset right now, right? There's such a mix of emotion when you go through injuries like that. There's frustration at myself that this is so stupid. Like, I know better than that. I even told myself, wow, I hope I'm not getting injured, but I still did it. But there's also a lot of sadness related to that. What if I cannot race anymore? What if my ankle never gets any better? Running is not everything in my life, but it is a big part of it. It's definitely something that Nora and myself, we love going out there, not just for racing, but being on trail together. That's our happy time. And if I can't even do that, that's just very sad. And not seeing any progress anymore, it's just very frustrating. It's been several months now, and I'm not back to normal. Can I still race? Yeah, I can absolutely race. That's not an issue. But performance-wise, it's not the same. And walking feels a little bit awkward. And if you follow my channel, you know that I'm racing a 100-miler at least every month for the past 4.5 years. Will this kill the streak? Well, the funny thing is that I really don't care about that. If I need to pull the plug, I'll pull the plug. And I've actually already canceled 2 races. I was supposed to run a West Plate Copper King or Copper Mountain, and also Val d'Aran in Spain. I decided to pull the plug on these. Most likely I would have been able to do it, but most likely that wouldn't have helped with my recovery. So I decided to take more time. And then my next race, if I feel good enough, will be Bigfoot 200 mile in about a month. So it's giving me time for recovery. You need to know what you're doing, and a physiotherapist is really important for that, but it's a lot of effort. Like, my PT sessions are not always fun. Sometimes it's pretty painful. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, and it's pretty expensive also. It's been a difficult period for that. And then of course, I mean, I know it's a random thing to say, but water pipes everywhere in the house and it's just like, everything all at once. You know, I would just want to go run and vent off and not think about these things, the financial constraint, but it's all at once. And I think that sometimes life is like that. Like, when it rains, it pours. And it feels like that for me. It really feels like that. And That's also why I didn't necessarily want to make that movie, because I know that haters will come out of the wood and will be so excited that Simon is injured, and they will let me know. And usually I can deal with that, but right now I don't have the energy to deal with that. Everything is happening at once. I'm not in a good place, and it's painful and it hurts. Of course, it wouldn't be a Simon video if I didn't give you unsolicited advice. So here's my advice regarding injuries. And the first one is prevention is so much better than dealing with it, which means take rest seriously. If something starts being bad or feels off a little bit, and the more you run, the more you'll understand your body. Take it slower, don't rush it. Leave it at the stage where it's just an ailment or an inconvenience. It's not a major injury. If, however, you're a dum-dum like myself.
Lloyd, what are you doing?
It feels like you're running at an incredible rate, Harry.
Quit it. We're not even through Connecticut yet, and already you're annoying me.
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Guys!
And then you make it worse. Recognize that, be kind to yourself, understand that we all do mistakes, that's okay. But don't do the mistake a third time. Take it slow, don't rush it. It's better to fully heal than to get back to it too quickly. That doesn't mean not doing anything about it. That doesn't mean being a couch potato until it magically heals. You have to take active step in that. And sometimes active recovery is the best thing to do. Sometimes targeted exercise, deep massage will be the right thing to do. And if you're not sure, of course you can go online. Of course you can ask ChatGPT. But I would say sometimes, most of the time, a healthcare provider will be your first stop if you want to heal properly. You want to include some diagnostic. Is it a fracture? Is it a rupture? Is something majorly wrong, or is it just tendonitis? And what should you do to improve that? How quickly can you get back to running, and what can you do before that? Because you also don't want to wait too long, lose all of your fitness. You do want to get back to running. That is the end goal. The end goal is that you can run again. The goal is to get back to what you love, and what you love is being out there and running. So take these steps seriously, and find some help. As I said, finding a physiotherapist can be very helpful, sometimes a doctor, depending on the injury. It's good to have two opinions sometimes, and it's definitely good to have someone who understands running. Then I think it's good to readjust your mindset a little bit. I always prone, like, live your emotion, like, don't deny that we feel a certain way, like frustration, anger, sadness. Like, live these things and then readjust your mindset. You're a runner even if you don't run, and you're definitely not just a runner. You're a person, and there's other things that you can do to stay happy and to stay active. It's even okay to cross-train. I will even accept things like you could be cycling. As long as it's temporary, we can all forgive that. But just find other things to keep your mind busy, because for a lot of us, running was our pressure valve. For whatever reason, running brings us something in our life that is really important, and when it's taken away, then there is a void. And to avoid falling in this kind of dark spiral, you find something else. Cross-training, hang out with friends, reading, all of these things to stay active and to stay positive. So what does it mean for the channel, my injury? Well, honestly, it's not changing so much in terms of my overall goal. I'll be back to running full speed. I know that this is just a temporary setback that is dragging a little bit, that is really frustrating, but I'm still racing Bigfoot 200 mile, and I'm still gonna provide a lot of tips video. That said, one thing that I would mention is you might have noticed that Cruel Jewel 100 mile and Tao 200 mile are movies that should have come up a long time ago. It's just really tough for me to go through that footage, and especially Cruel Jewel, thinking like, wow, like, what a stupid moron. Why did you do that? So it's harder than usual to put these movies together. So I apologize for that, for being slower at putting them together. Obviously, eventually I will publish them. These were great experience nonetheless. I met great people at Cruel Jewel, and Tao 200 mile was a beautiful race. And in fact, Tao I don't regret racing. And as for the tips video, of course, I'll still continue to produce some, but one of the epiphany or revelation that I had when I was meditating through my physiotherapy session that were so painful that I was sweating, is that it's never too early to have good habits and to share what I think is a positive message from my channel, which is to be realistic about running, but also have this adventure, this journey, and pushing your own limits. Because of that, of course, a lot of my tips video are very much geared towards ultramarathon and a lot towards 100-mile ultramarathon because this is my specialty. But I think I'll try to make some videos a little bit more content that is targeted at newer runners so that they can start having good habits and preventing injuries. You don't have to wait until you're at 100 mile to have these good habits, to have strength session, to have rest day, to increase gradually your running. So you might see some videos, hopefully that you will appreciate anyway, that are a little bit more basic and informative for a broader audience, because I think this is something that has been lacking in my channel overall. That being said, of course, there's videos like what's the easiest 100 mile, what's the most scenic ultra marathon, and how can you create a training plan and prepare for your first 100 mile. All of these things, of course, will still happen. But there might be things like how can you run your first trail half marathon? How can you run your first 5Ks? How can you go from the couch to running a marathon? These sorts of videos, I've avoided them in the past because I think quite a lot of channels are doing that already. But I think I see it a little bit more as a continuation, and I want to create that earlier stage information that can create a continuum all the way through your journey to whatever your goal is. Not everyone has to run 100 miles, and that's something that I've said several times, and I will continue saying. Whatever your goal is a beautiful goal, and I want to help you achieve it. I was really hesitant to make this video because this is a very personal journey. This is not necessarily super helpful for your own situation. But maybe sometimes being vulnerable, maybe sometimes being transparent can be helpful, and hopefully that's the case. So if you appreciate that, of course, please leave a thumbs up, comment below. Have you struggled with injuries? Please let us know. What have you done to cope with it? I'm curious to hear, and of course we want to support each other. The other reason I was hesitant to make this video is that people just love telling you how bad running is for you, and the fact that injuries are part of running is definitely not a sign in my mind that running is bad for you. Injuries are part of it, yes, but it's not permanent damage. It's a setback, and I can walk around, I can run. It's just that running 100 mile might not be the best idea right now based on my injury. In 2 months, 3 months, I'll be back to normal, and that's really what matters. But I didn't want to invite these comments that are so negative and so destructive for the running community. And of course, I just didn't want to invite these snarky comments of, Simon, you're running too much. I told you before, of course, this was going to happen. I mean, if you want to let me know that, like, of course, let me know in the comments below. I made the video, so you're fully allowed to say whatever is on your mind. I will never censor people. If that's what you think, hey, why not? I read the comments. I will know what you think. So, all right. So I'm sorry if this video is a little bit more negative than usual, but I felt like sharing this. As I said, if you appreciate, thumbs up, comment below, share with your friend, and see you next time.
You think we could listen to the radio or something?
Mock, yeah. Ing, yeah. Bird, yeah. 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 Mockingbird, don't everybody have you heard?